Welcome to Bio-IT World's brand new Trends from the Trenches podcast, your insider's look at the science, technology, and executive trends driving the life sciences. I'm Allison Proffitt, editor of Bio-IT World, and today I'm chatting with Stan Gloss, founder of BioTeam, who will be our host for the Trends from the Trenches podcast. Welcome, Stan.
Hey, Allie, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I am so excited to be talking to you after doing all these articles in Bio-IT World. Now to finally move the work that we've been doing into a podcast format is really kind of exciting.
I'm excited about it too. It feels like a very logical and fun next step for these conversations that you've been having for the past over a year now, right?
Yeah, and the sad part was that we only had so much room to deliver content in an article
right.
And there was so much more that was talked about in our interviews that we just couldn't share. And now the podcast gives us that capability to share a greater depth of story.
Absolutely. But before we go forward to what we have planned, what we have up our sleeves, let's go back a little bit. We, you and I, but also Bio-IT World and BioTeam have known each other for a long time. I've been at Bio-IT World since 2006, and BioTeam was already involved in the event. When did you start coming to Bio-IT World?
Yeah, we were there at the inauguration in year 2000. We were all working for a company called Blackstone Computing, and that's how we started connecting in with the Bio-IT World community.
Yeah, cool. And then how did the company come about? How did you move from Blackstone to BioTeam?
Yeah, so the four original founders worked for Blackstone Computing and decided that we wanted to venture out on our own. That was the same year that my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and died in 5 weeks. At that point, I knew I was going to dedicate my career to increasing the speed of scientific discovery. And that's when, we decided to launch off and start BioTeam in 2002, myself, Chris Degdegian, Bill Van Etten, and Michael Athanas. And again, the sole purpose there was to accelerate scientific research and kind of bridging the gap between science and information technology.
So that was a long time ago. Where is the company today? What are you focusing your efforts on now?
Well, we're still committed to accelerating scientific discovery, and that remains stronger than ever before. But we're really starting to hone in at the intersection of science, technology, and now data. And what we're trying to do is build these interdisciplinary capabilities and strategies to advance, scientific discovery and looking at changing research, technical and operational problems with scientific environments, these kinds of things, all of these challenges that our clients bring to us to solve. So it's really an exciting time.
It definitely is. It's a great time for the space. I think that the entire Bio-IT and life sciences community is at a tipping point to do a lot of really cool things with AI and machine learning, and actually making some tangible progress on those after we have been talking about the data prep and the data hygiene that needs to go into preparing for that kind of technology.
Yeah, actually, you brought up a really good point there that we hear the word digital transformation happening. And digital transformation is being driven by some of the things that you just mentioned, which is the cloud, data science, Internet of Things, and AI and machine learning. So it's this massive amount of technology that's coming that now we're having to adapt our science to an ever-changing environment, and it's changing at light speed. Just think about the pandemic and how much things have changed that we never thought would change that fast, almost changed overnight.
Yeah, that really is an understatement. It has been an astonishing change. And it's actually prompted you and I to chat more and has prompted some new conversations for you that I'm not sure you would have done had there not been a pandemic. You wouldn't have had so much time on your hands to chat with everybody.
Yeah. And, it's just the simple use of Zoom. Everybody's Zooming. We do more Zooms now than we do phone calls ever. And making do with the environment that we have, with COVID. So, but that whole avenue has changed also in the way we share information. Mm-hmm. So some of the barriers of sharing information came straight down with COVID. So that's really an exciting change that we've seen with COVID that I hope continues on beyond COVID, having more open, accessible data for everybody to use is going to be something I want to look out for. And I want to report to everybody on these kind of changes that are going on and what's sticking, what's not sticking in COVID. So it's going to be an interesting time. And some of the people that we plan to talk to are going to be very much focused right into this area.
Good. Well, so I've had a sneak peek at a few of the conversations you've already had. You've been talking to folks for about a year. We've put a bunch of these in the publication, but now we're going to be shifting to a podcast format so we can really hear from them in their own words, their own voice, which I'm excited about because I think it reflects a lot of better reflects a lot of the enthusiasm about what people are excited about, what they're really interested in. So without giving too much away, what are some of the trends that are already jumping out at you that you're excited to explore deeper?
Yeah. So again, on my interviews, I hear a lot of the typical problems that people are encountering.
Right.
In scientific research, it's really how do organizations become data-driven? And we're going to see more and more of how data is driving the scientific work that we're doing. In addition, the volume of data has become massive and it's growing exponentially. So how do we wrangle all of this data? How do we share it across systems? So it's not just about bioinformatics like the old days, but it's data science and how do we deal with it and the cultural issues that we face around data versus my data versus our data. Absolutely. We have to overcome some of this. So, we're seeing a lot of that and then preparing for the next big thing that's going to happen in moving AI and machine learning into mainstream. It's being done in some interesting pockets right now, but in time, we're going to see AI and machine learning used very, very commonly. So we need to talk to people about what they're doing with AI and machine learning, some of their best practices and things like that. So those are some of the exciting areas that we're talking about. And sometimes we're also going to be talking about cultural change because most of the technology that we need to transform and to become more digitally savvy as companies is here today. The challenge is changing our processes and changing our culture to adapt to these changing times. So we're going to have to take on the issue of cultural change in science head on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm very excited about the conversations that we have planned. I'm excited about learning from these folks you've got lined up. Are we ready to go? Should we start?
Yeah, we should just do it right now. And let's switch over let's go to episode 1.
All right. See you there. This episode was produced by Pete Glowacki and myself, Allison Proffitt, with the Bio-IT World media team from www.bioitworld.com. It was hosted by Stan Gloss, founder of BioTeam, a life science IT consulting firm at the intersection of science, data, and technology. BioTeam builds innovative scientific data ecosystems that close the gap between what scientists want to do with their data and what they can do. Learn more at www.bioteam.net.